When you look at Gig Harbor, there's a very clear story that shows up. We do not have one price lane here. We have various stacked lanes. And if you're not looking in the right spot, you may overpay for what you think is premium when it's just a place that has a label. Homes can be just a couple minutes apart and be a completely different decision. So in this video, I'm gonna break down 5 neighborhoods that some people may say are overpriced. What we're gonna do today is point those out, talk about why they're overpriced or why they're that price in the first place. And we're also gonna give you some alternatives that might be more affordable or just give you different options that give you the same day-to-day lifestyle. My name is Darren Rivers. I am the Northwest Realtor and head of the Rivers Group. And my job is to make sure that your money when you're buying a house goes into the right pocket, not just in the neighborhood with the best reputation. So let's start with the neighborhood that everybody name drops first when they're thinking about the best of Gig Harbor, and that is Canterwood. It is a place that is really easy to overpay if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so Canterwood, this is a gated community. There's about 815 homes in here, and it's also a golf course community, and we are on location right now in Canterwood. This is hole number 4. I'm standing on the number 4 tee box, and the number 3 green is right over here to my right. Just so you know, I'm gonna talk about how it's overpriced and overrated and all that stuff, but we're gonna talk about why. And get this, I actually live in here, so take that with what you will. So Canterwood, here's why the price tag goes up when you come in these gates. It has 24-hour security, so it has this perceived thing of extra safety and protection. It's super clean in here. The streets are nice and quiet. The homes are all maintained very well. Everybody's yard looks great. They're nice big homes that mostly are custom homes. There's there's very few similar homes in here. Track home area, it doesn't have that feel at all. Downside, when you come in those gates, your price tag goes up a couple $100,000 compared to neighboring neighborhoods. So what do you get with those few extra $100,000 that you have to spend? Well, you get this golf course, golf club lifestyle. I mean, you're right here. If you're a member of the club, and you don't have to be a member of the club, but a lot of people are, you get the country club lifestyle of the golf course and the swimming pool and the pickleball courts and tennis courts and the bar and the restaurant and the gym and all the things that go with it. A true sense of community. It's a really, really a great place to live. I raised my kids in here for sure. Now, is it worth a couple extra $100,000 to live in here versus outside? That's going to be up to you. But we're going to go through some alternatives of if you can't quite afford to be in here or you don't want to be in here. The other downside of it is the HOA is a little bit strict. You know, you can't park your boat in the driveway for several days in a row. Can't have your motorhome in the driveway. Can't paint your house fluorescent pink, thank God, but you can't. You know, so you have to get permission to do certain things in your yard or to your home, the exterior of your home. You can do anything you want inside, obviously, but things like that. And some people don't like the HOA rules and the mother may I perception. But on the other hand, it does keep our community here very, very nice. So it's just something to think about to see if that's good for you or not. So let's talk about some alternatives where you can maybe even have the same sort of lifestyle as you do here in Canterwood and spend a lot less money. So right across the street from Canterwood, there's 2 neighborhoods that are also gated. Now they don't have manned security guards, but they are gated. You have to have a remote or a combination, or you have to call into one of the residents to get in. One of them is Tillicum and one of them is Bayview. And they're neighborhoods that are literally across the street. So you could have a gated community with that safety and sense of community. You can still be a member of Canterwood and simply walk across the street and have all the amenities that we have in here. And your dollar is going to go so much further for an equivalent home in one of those communities versus here. You're going to be saving $300,000, $400,000. I mean, it's a significant amount. You could also live over in Harbor Hill, which is just like, it's like a mile away. It's still in Gig Harbor North here. It's much more of a track home community. Your dollar is going to go way further. Now, you're not going to have a half acre and a 5,000 square foot house. You're going to have a much smaller lot, so less to take care of. And it is a track home community, so the homes look very similar, but you do have that sense of community. There's no thoroughfares going through there, so all the cars are going nice and slow. And it is a way cheaper way to get into a home, still live in Gig Harbor North. And again, if you want to be a member of the club, it's a mile drive. So lots of options around Canterwood if you don't want to pay the prices of Canterwood. But I'll tell you this about Canterwood, the appreciation is there. It is a sought after neighborhood. Homes don't usually stay on the market very long. And there's a reason why it has been thriving for the last 30 years. So let's talk about the second neighborhood on my list of what may be overpriced, at least in some people's minds. And that's where I'm at right now, is down downtown Gig Harbor. So let's talk about what you get with downtown Gig Harbor, okay? So first of all, you get the prestige. You get to say, hey, I live in downtown Gig Harbor, and there is a certain thing to that is very real. And it's really cool down here. I mean, I'm right down here on the waterfront. People come down here all the time to walk their dogs and take a jog. You have access to the water. There's all these little mom and pop shops around and coffee shops and a couple breweries. There's public docks, so if you want to throw your paddleboard or kayak in the water, you can certainly do that. Everything is super walkable, right? In the summertime, they have the farmers market, they have the summer concert series, so you have free concerts every Tuesday night in the summertime, and it's super close to the freeway. Well, I mean, we're just right down the hill, hop on the freeway, you're over in Tacoma in no time. So there are some benefits to living in downtown Gig Harbor, and the prices, you know, if you're up on the hill, you're $1 million. If you have nice view, you're $1.5 million. And if you're over on the water with a deep water dock, well, you're talking several millions of dollars. So there's some alternatives to that where you can have a downtown lifestyle and some of the activities that we have down here in downtown Gig Harbor and maybe spend quite a bit less. Before we dive into some of these alternatives, let's talk about a couple little negatives of downtown Gig Harbor. And yes, you know, you get the prestige, you get the nice, you get the downtown charm here. I mean, it is a charming town. There's a reason the prices are what they are. It's because there's a demand for it and people are willing to pay for it. But it's kind of crowded. Parking sucks. I mean, as you can see, I'm walking. All these parking spots are full. You know, parking's not very good. In the summer, it's a little bit noisy. It's, you know, local tourists and it's just busy, but it's because everybody wants to come here. It's super nice. So there's some negatives to it for sure. And like I said, there's some alternatives that are gonna, you know, if you want that kind of a feel and a downtown lifestyle and the walkability of it, let's go into some of those alternatives where I'm telling you, your dollar is gonna go a lot further. Now, you may have some of the same sort of issues with some parking and things like that. That seems to be kind of a trend with these downtown areas, but let's dig into some of these other areas now. So remember some of those homes that I was talking about that could be several millions of dollars on the waterfront? Check those things out. I mean, they are spectacular and they're here in downtown Gig Harbor, and you can find similar homes in some other areas, but this is the creme de la creme. So some of the alternatives that you can have and have maybe a similar type lifestyle as downtown Gig Harbor and where your dollar is going to go way further. Okay, so downtown Port Orchard, only about 20 minutes north of here, has the downtown feel. It's on the waterfront again. There is a walkway that goes right there. Now it's a little bit more blue collar, if you will. The average price point is going to be way less, and I'm talking several $100,000 less than downtown Gig Harbor. But it has some cool little breweries, it has some cool coffee shops, has some cool mom and pop kind of, you know, art stores or retail type stores, but it is definitely more blue collar than Gig Harbor. Another alternative that's going to be much closer to Gig Harbor in style is Paulsbo. Now we're talking Kitsap County. It is further north from here, maybe 40-minute drive or so. Some advantages to that is it's pretty easy to go over Bainbridge and get on a ferry and go over to Seattle. It's much closer to the shipyard and Bangor Naval Substation if you are in the military, in the Navy anyway, so you're going to have better access to that. But Paulsbo is really, really cute. It's got a very similar vibe to Gig Harbor, just a little bit smaller, a little bit further away, and definitely more affordable. And another option for downtown living in kind of a smaller town that might appeal to you if you're younger or if you're single and want more of a single lifestyle and really easy access to Seattle is downtown Bremerton. It's a little bit more city-like, but it's certainly not a big city, but it's got more stuff that's all real close right there as far as restaurants and breweries, and the ferry is like right there. It's way cheaper, like half the price of downtown Gig Harbor, and it's a little bit more lively. It's not quite, you know, the mom and pop place where everything shuts down at 9 p.m. like it does here in Gig Harbor. So Bremerton's another alternative if you're looking for downtown life that's affordable and maybe a bit more light. The next neighborhood that we're going to talk about that might be overrated, might be overpriced, depending what you're looking for, is right here at Fox Island. Now let's talk about Fox Island and let's talk about some of the great things about it and why people do like it out here, and then why maybe those things are overrated and some better alternatives. So Fox Island is just south of Gig Harbor. It's all part of Gig Harbor. It's the same school district. It's the same fire district. It's the same Pierce County Sheriff's Department that covers it. You have to go over that bridge right over there to get to it. Depending on where you're at on Fox Island, you could be 10 minutes from the grocery stores, or you could be like 25, 30 minutes away from the grocery stores if you're at the far end of Fox Island. It does have a certain prestige to it, right? I live on Fox Island. It is really nice out here. It is quiet. You definitely have a sense of privacy. There is a prestige to it. That's why it's so sought after. There's some beautiful waterfront waterfront homes, and there's some homes with some wonderful water views that aren't on the water, right? Now, let's talk about some downsides of it. That bridge over there, a bridge has been in some controversy for, seems like decades, but for a long time. At some point, they're gonna have to replace it, and what's that gonna look like? Who's gonna pay for it? The disruptions that it's gonna cause? Lord only knows. That is just an ongoing topic, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind as like, wow, that bridge might be a hindrance at some point. So some misconceptions about Fox Island. Some people think that every property on Fox Island has a view. Well, that is certainly not the case. There are a lot that do, but there are a lot that are just in the middle of the island that you don't really feel like you're on an island. You have no view of the water. It's just kind of regular, sparse out neighborhoods. You know, the lots are a little bit bigger. There's no like tract home communities in there or not, but there are certainly plenty of places on Fox Island that you can find alternatives for over in Rosedale and Artendale. So here's some benefits of Rosedale and Artendale. The price might be a little bit less, not a lot. It's still Gig Harbor. It's still all the same. Like I said, school district, fire district, public safety stuff, all that stuff's the same. But with Rosedale and Artendale, your price point might be about, $100,000 less. The price points on Fox Island tend to be just a little bit higher, and the commute times are probably going to be a lot less if you're in Artendale and Rosedale. You're going to be a lot closer to the schools. You're going to be a lot closer to freeway access. It's just a lot closer to the grocery store, Costco, Home Depot, all that stuff. You're going to be way closer if you're in Artendale and Rosedale versus Fox Island. So there's those trade-offs, especially if you're in the middle of Fox Island, where you can live in the middle of Rosedale and Artendale, have virtually the exact same lifestyle and a lot more convenience. So let's talk about another thing that Fox Island has, but so does a lot of other areas. And that is Fox Island, obviously, it has waterfront homes. It has a lot of homes with great views of either Mount Rainier or the Olympic Mountains or the water. Well, guess what? Right over there on the Gig Harbor side, where you don't have to come over the bridge, you have all those things over there as well. So there's many alternatives to getting away from Fox Island, where you still have the lovely views of all the things I just mentioned, Mount Rainier, the Olympic Mountains, the Puget Sound, all of that stuff. Even the Fox Island Bridge from the Gig Harbor side. So you don't have to come over that bridge and ever really have to deal with it. Now, right now, it's not an issue. There's no traffic jams. The bridge isn't falling over tomorrow. It's not being replaced next month, and everybody's going to have to do a $30,000 assessment or a toll or Lord knows, but it's coming. So I don't know when, next year, 5 years, after I'm dead, don't know, but it's going to be an issue at some point, and they're already talking about it. So remember how I was just saying that you could find homes that have virtually the same stuff, waterfront, views, all those things. They're here on Fox Island, but check it out. Like I just mentioned, look at that whole hillside. That is all South Artendale over there, and it has the same thing, same lifestyle, super more convenient. Next up, for neighborhoods that you might think are overpriced or maybe overrated, is Artendale and Rosedale. So these are two different areas, but I'm going to combine them into one because they're very much the same. They border each other. Rosedale is just slightly north of Artendale. They're both on the west side of Highway 16. I use those as alternatives to Fox Island, right? Because there's many areas of Artendale and Rosedale that have great water views, have waterfront properties, have the privacy and things like that Fox Island has. The lots tend to be a little bit bigger. Your dollar may go a little bit further than Fox Island, but it's still Gig Harbor, right? You still have Gig Harbor schools. You still have all the amenities of Gig Harbor. So just because your mailing address is Gig Harbor, your price point goes up compared to other areas. Artendale's really, really nice. I mean, there's a reason people are attracted out there. A lot of families tend to be attracted out there. It's just kind of quiet. It's a little bit more rural, especially compared to downtown. It's just more of a low vibe neighborhood, rural neighborhood kind of atmosphere. So we're going to talk about two alternatives to Artendale and Rosedale where your dollar is going to go further. And one is Key Peninsula. Now here's the advantages of Key Peninsula. You're in the same school district, so you all have Peninsula School District as Artendale and Rosedale, so that's great. It is a little further out. You got to go over the Purdy Bridge, and sometimes rush hour over that Purdy Bridge is kind of and it's not great, but your dollar is going to go so much further out on the Key Peninsula, and the further out you go, the further your dollar goes. But it has the same sort of vibe as far as quiet out there, privacy. Again, there's lots of lots that are on the water or have water views or acreage and equestrian properties. Very much the same kind of vibe, maybe a little bit more blue collar in certain areas. You just got to find those pockets, but your dollar is going to go so much further and you still get the Gig Harbor name. The next alternative where the lifestyle is going to be pretty similar to Martindale and Rosedale is South Kitsap and Olalla, which is in South Kitsap. Now, this is different though. You cross in the Kitsap County line. You're in a different school district now, but there's a lot of space out there. The lots tend to be much bigger, in fact. I mean, you often find 5-10 acre lots out there. And once you cross that Kitsap County line, your dollar is even going to go further. So it's much more affordable, but still very close to Gig Harbor. The amenities that are all in Gig Harbor North, such as Costco, Target, all of those things are only going to be 10-15 minutes away. That's the same thing as if you lived at the farther reaches of Martindale and Rosedale. Those are 15-20 minutes away. And if you wanted to go to Peninsula schools, you could apply for a variance. Many people do, and they have their kids get into the Gig Harbor schools, even though they live in Kitsap County. You got to go through the process, but many families do. So that is an alternative that's going to be way more affordable and give you all that privacy and space that you're looking for. All right, the last neighborhood that we're going to talk about that is Gig Harbor based, and many of them have Gig Harbor mailing addresses over on the Key Peninsula. I have just mentioned this as an alternative to living in Rosedale or Artindale, but let's talk about alternatives for Key Peninsula. So here's Key Peninsula. It's out over the Pretty Bridge. It's a little bit more out there. It's a little bit more rural, but they have their own little sense of community. Ashley Ford, who is my director of operations and my right-hand person for virtually everything real estate, and you guys will meet her on here eventually as well. She lives out there and she's very involved in all the things they have going on out there. Out there, the advantages are you're still Peninsula School District. You're still got a Gig Harbor mailing address. You still have kind of that status of Gig Harbor, but the price point is like half of what the rest of Gig Harbor is. It really is. You go so much further. You can have all the space and the privacy you want out there for a much more affordable price. Now, alternatives to that, if you want to be closer, and here's the disadvantage. Let me skip around. Disadvantage is it takes a while to get out there. It's across the Pretty Bridge. There's traffic over that bridge sometime. And depending on how far you go out on the peninsula, it takes a while to get out there. So some alternatives, they're more expensive, but alternatives are Artindale and Rosedale. An alternative is maybe Crescent Valley and Point Richmond, which is on the other side of Highway 16, but it's still Gig Harbor, and it's only 5 minutes from downtown Gig Harbor and 5 minutes to Costco and Home Depot. Those are some alternatives, but they're going to be more expensive. If you want the same sort of price point, but be closer into everything, South Kitsap and Olalla, very similar price points, but they're much closer to Gig Harbor proper. The disadvantage of that, of course, is you're across the Kitsap County line. It's a different school district and all those things that we just discussed. But there is alternatives where you can have the same sort of lifestyle and not maybe be so far away. Now, there's a reason why people pay a premium to live out in Artindale and Rosedale. There is a certain, again, I use this word over and over, prestige, but there is a certain prestige to the name. I live in Artindale. I live in Rosedale. They're kind of landmark areas that people are very familiar with, been around a long time. You also can find some acreage out there. There's some equestrian properties out there. It's very, very different than Harbor Hill and North Gig Harbor that are track home communities, or downtown Gig Harbor where it's a lot more congested. These are more spread out. It's a bit more rural and people like that. But there's alternatives where your dollar is going to go further. If you're relocating to Gig Harbor in 2026 and you're trying to decide what pocket is best for you, if you want that premium lane or if you want that more affordable lane, make sure you reach out to me. We can go through all of the different variables in that and see what lane is best for you and fits your pocketbook. My name is Darren Rivers. I am the Northwest Realtor and head of the Rivers Group. All of my information is going to be right here, so feel free to reach out to us at any time and we will help find out which pocket of the neighborhood is best for you, and we'll see you on the next video.